Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Phantasm. So, I've seen this movie before, but I've never seen any of the sequels. I've only seen the first one, and that's a big reason why I decided to review the first Phantasm movie is because I picked up the second one on DVD a few months ago and I haven't watched it yet, but I'm trying to like watch them in order and check out the entire franchise. I've said this in a lot of videos, but I love, watching like an entire series of movies, checking out all the sequels. I mean, I check out all the sequels for the most part, like a lot of the newer like requels or reboots I'm really just not into because in my opinion like most of them suck and it's like played out. Like we already had the remakes and some of those were really good, some of those sucked, but like now we're doing the whole requel thing. It's like some of these franchises they just need to call it a day, but this franchise is like completely over. As far as I know, I haven't heard anything about a reboot or anything like that. I mean, I don't even know if there would be like interest like for a big studio reboot, because like I mean the first Phantasm I think is considered a classic. Like I think this is considered a horror classic, or at the very least a cult classic. Like I feel like this movie is well known. Like it has some iconic imagery. Like um, at this like at the last job I was working, like I was like talking about this movie with this one older guy, and he's like, yeah, the movie with the metal ball in it, and like there's this like woman as well, like they're like a little bit older, so they like kind of knew like the 70s 80s movies more. They're like, yeah, the Phantasm, the one with the silver ball and the tall man and stuff, so it's like I feel like these movies have iconic imagery and they're iconic horror films. But yeah, back onto my point of like, would this get a requel or a reboot? I don't think so, because like I feel like this is more of a classic like among horror fans. I feel like people who aren't hardcore horror fans don't really, know about this movie or franchise. It's not at the same popularity level as like some of the big slasher franchises, And this isn't even a slasher, but you know what I mean? Like those, like the big slasher franchises are like the most well-known horror franchises. This is not a slasher. It's got like a little some sci-fi elements on. It's categorized as like horror slash fantasy on Google, but yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of a weird one, but like not in a bad way. Like Don Coscarelli, like I've only seen a couple of his other movies, and they're pretty weird, like the ones I've seen, but in a good way. Like really, just crazy, wild. Like I love that type of stuff. But yeah, this is like a weirder movie, so I don't think, even though this is a classic, it's not as popular as some other like horror classics from the same time period. But yeah, some other Don Coscarelli movies that I like. John Dies at the End. That's like a relatively newer one. That is so cool. Like there's this little. It's like this black liquid. It's called the soy sauce, and it makes you like super perceptive. Like you have like extra senses, and you can like sense different dimensions. Like that movie was insane. It was really good with like the sci-fi fantasy elements, and then it had some like comedy sprinkled in. I love John Dies at the End. And then um, there's this show, Masters of Horror. It's like a little bit older now, and I didn't watch it when it came out because it was on like HBO when it came out. I was younger, but I discovered it. I was watching like some videos from Sinister Cinema Reviews. Shouts out to Sinister Cinema Reviews, and he was doing some Masters of Horror episodes. And I haven't seen every episode, but I pretty much just like watch the ones that are made by like big name directors that I like, because that's the whole premise of the show. It's like it's basically like an anthology. Like each episode is its own story, and they're like pretty much almost like feature films. They're like 50 minutes. Like each episode is like a 50-minute movie made by a different famous horror director. And the episode that Don Coscarelli did, I have it written down. It's kind of a long title. Incident on and off a mountain road. Oh my goodness, dude. Let me tell you, that's one of the best Masters of Horror episodes. Like, it's so good. It's scary. It's atmospheric. Like the main villain dude in that he's like this like big 7 foot tall monster dude. Like that's like top 3 Masters of Horror episodes. Like it's so good. It's awesome. But yeah, Angus Scrimm is actually in that. He's like, I think he's like the prisoner of the super tall monster guy. He's like or something like that, and he's like in the basement. But yeah, that's a point that I wanted to get to. I gotta give my general consensus eventually, but I'm just gonna talk about Angus Scrimm now that I mentioned him. Yeah, he's in that episode of Masters of Horror. He's good in that. In this movie, Phantasm, he's fantastic. Like, he's just perfectly cast as the tall man. He's absolutely creepy, and he has like the look, and he's just like the way he moves and the way he like talks. He doesn't really talk that much, but he's just insanely creepy. I love Angus Scrimm in this. He pops up in some other horror stuff here and there. Like I think he's in Subspecies, the full moon vampire movie. I haven't even seen that. I watched like 10 minutes and then I turned it off because I was like tired. But I do want to check all those out. They actually just put out a 5th Subspecies, so I'm a big like vampire movie guy, so I gotta check that out. But yeah, anyways, Angus Scrimm was absolutely amazing, super iconic as the tall man. He was just perfect. I love the tall man. Another super iconic part of this movie, like I was saying earlier, the silver ball. Like when you mention this movie to someone, like that's what comes up in conversation. Like, oh, the movie with the silver ball, and it's like it's cool. It's like this came out in like 1979, and like the special effects are pretty darn good. Like where it's like flying through the sky, and then it has these little knives poke out of it, and then it like, I think there's only one kill with it, but it like goes into this guy's head, and there's just blood just like squirting out the other side, and then like later in the movie, it's like coming for Jody and Mike, and Jody just like whips out the shotgun, just like shoots it out of the air, which was really awesome, because like sometimes like like if you're like going shooting with shotguns, like that's the whole point with shotguns, is like you can shoot stuff out of the air. Like you can like we would have like a thing for like clay pigeons, like those little orange discs, and you like have like a little contraption that like flings them in the air, and like when we would go up north and stuff, we would just you would just like shoot the clay pigeons out of the air. So like I thought that was super cool when he shot the metal ball like out of the air like that with the shotgun. It was awesome seeing. That's something else that I wrote down and want to talk about. Like I think like Jody, Mike, and Reggie are badass. Like Jody and Mike are just like strapped up, and Mike's like a super young kid, but he's got the pistol, and then Jody's talking about, he's like, you don't fire a warning shot, you shoot to kill, and yeah, they're just like badass. Like Mike like escapes from his room with the little shotgun shell with the hammer, which was like, I thought that was like super clever of him, but at the same time, like that's some movie stuff right there. Like that would absolutely never work in a million years. Like, oh yeah, let me just get some scotch tape and a little pin, and I'll scotch tape this shotgun shell with a little pin to a hammer and just tap it lightly. Oh, it exploded. Oh, my door's open. Boom. Like, come on. What do you think? I was born yesterday? Like, that's not gonna work. Like, with the tape, there's no structural integrity. There's no structure. I can't speak. I can't pronounce words today. There's no structural integrity with the tape. It's not even duct tape. It's like some little scotch tape. Like, it would just fall off. Like, get out of my face. Like, you're not gonna break out of the door. But it's some movie stuff. I'm not like actually mad at that. I was just watching that. I'm like, that would not work. But I'm jumping all over the place. Like I said, I do want to give you all my general consensus, and even though I said that this movie is like regarded as a classic or a cult classic, just to be 100% honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this movie. Like there's so many elements about it that I like, but just my overall enjoyment of it, I just think it's okay. Like, to be 100% honest, like there's quite a few parts in this movie that like just drag for me, and I feel are very boring. And like whenever I've watched this movie, like it's just hard for me to follow. And then, there's kind of an ambiguous ending. I don't want to get into that too much, but I'm just like, what the heck is going on in this movie? Like, the story's hard to follow, and there's just so much stuff going on. But like there are some entertaining parts, but like overall, like if I'm talking enjoyment level and the level that I'm entertained, this movie's just okay. And I'm not saying that Don Coscarelli is not a good director. I'm not saying that this shouldn't be a classic. I think this like deserves to be a classic, but just being honest, I don't like love this movie. It's just okay. It's just whatever. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I am excited to check out the sequels. Like, that's mainly why I rewatched this, because the second one I think is more straightforward. I think it was like made by like a big studio, maybe Universal. I didn't research that, so I'm just kind of guessing. But the first one was like independent. They made it for around like 300,000, and it was like a big hit. Like when it came out, like it made a lot of money. But yeah, the sequel was like a big studio film, bigger budget, and I think they did purposely like make the story more straightforward, so so it could like have like a wider appeal. So I might like the second one more. And I read like the plot summaries for like the other ones, and they seem pretty good. I know everyone hates the fifth one, but like the third one seems pretty cool. I think like Reggie has like a triple barrel shotgun or something crazy like that, or a chainsaw shotgun. I don't know, but the third one seems pretty cool. I don't know what I forgot about the plot summary that I read for the fourth one, but the second and third seem pretty sick, and I want to check out the sequels. But I also like it'll be cool to watch all of them because there's a book on all the Phantasm movies, and it's written by Dustin McNeil, who wrote Slash of the Titans. He wrote like this Halloween one as well. Like he does like a lot of cool like behind the scenes books on horror movies. And Slash of the Titans I'm currently reading. I'm just chipping away. I'm really busy, so I don't have like time to read it all the time, but I'm reading Slash of the Titans right now, and it's really awesome. So like once I watch all the Phantasm movies, I definitely want to pick up the book and read it. All right. Another thing. I do have like quite a few likes about this movie, even though I just said, it's just like whatever. in my opinion, I do have quite a few likes. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's like a lot I really love about it, but like the overall movie, some parts are pretty boring in my opinion. But one thing that I really like, the score in this movie is so iconic. Like, the music is so good. Like, the main theme is so spooky. It's just like a perfect horror movie theme. Like, it's like iconic. Like, I feel like people who know this movie, you know the music. Like, this is, I mean, like, I feel like a score is like almost more important in a horror movie than other genres. You know, like a comedy, like it doesn't matter as much, but like the score of a horror movie like sets the tone. It kind of helps like add to the atmosphere, and the music in this is creepy, is memorable. Like, the music in this is top notch. This is probably one of the best horror scores of all time, honestly. It's got to be at least top 10. Like, the music in this is phenomenal. I already kind of talked about Mike, Reggie, and Jody like being badass, but I mean, just like an honorable mention, like I just genuinely like really like their characters. Like, I like their chemistry together, and they're just likable dudes. They're just cool dudes. Like, it would be cool to kick it with them. So like, all the leads in this movie are awesome. You have a great villain. What more can you say? Okay, so this is something that I really want to talk about, and it's actually good that I'm talking about it now, because like, I mean, I barely have any subscribers, but I appreciate the people who subscribe. Like, I really appreciate it, but like, for real, like, I for real appreciate it. But yeah, basically, like, if I ever get monetized, which who knows, but you're not supposed to talk about too much like profane stuff in like the beginning of the video, so this is kind of good that I'm getting to this now. But upon rewatch, I was watching the first scene, and I always thought the first scene was kind of weird, right? But like, I was just really thinking it was weird this time. Like, okay, so I understand that the tall man shapeshifts into, like a beautiful woman in order to like, kind of like attract people to him, and to kind of lure them so that he can kill them, and then eventually turn them into his like slaves, like the little dwarf guys. But why does the tall man like fully get it on with this dude? Like, why? Because there was nobody else around. He already lured him to like a secluded area. He could have just killed him before. Why? They were like, it wasn't even like he killed the guy mid-stroke. Like, I'm pretty sure the guy finished. He was like, that was great, baby. That was great. Like, the dude already finished. They got it on. They already like did their thing. Like it's not like what? Why did the tall man shapeshift into this girl and like have sex with this guy and then kill him after? Why not kill him before? There was no one around. Like, you didn't have to do that, tall man. Maybe he's into that. I'm not hating. That's cool. But like, if he's not into that, like, why would he do all that? Like, you're gonna go through all this trouble, you're gonna turn into a girl, and then you're gonna like get it on with this guy for like 5-10 minutes, and then you're gonna wait till after to kill him? Kill him before. There's nobody else around. I thought that was insane. I was like, how did I not pick that up like the last time I watched this? Like, this is crazy. Like, maybe that's the tall man's thing. Maybe he's just maybe he's like into some younger gentleman, which is fine. Not younger like weird, but like, the guy was like in his 20s, But yeah, I'm not saying anything against that, but it was just like, what? It was like, the tall man's got to rethink his strategy, just turn into the girl, bring him to the woods, kill him right away. You don't have to do all that. Like, cause he turned into the girl, he was getting it on with Jody too. Jody was like mid-stroke, so that's like really like the tall man under there. Like, I don't know, like, that just seems crazy to me. I don't know how I didn't notice that. But yeah, like, and then Jody was like, so Jody was like making out with the tall man, and the tall man's just like, well, you know, I gotta make out with these guys and get it on with them because I don't want to blow my cover. But I mean, I could have just killed him right away. But like, why didn't you just kill him right away? You full on getting it on with these individuals. I don't know, tall man. I don't know. You gotta rethink it. Rethink that strategy. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that as a little WTF moment. I'm like, what the heck is going on? You know? All right. Yeah, a lot of the stuff in my notes I talked about. So I'm gonna get on to like the negatives. I kind of talked about this. I did talk about this, but I'm just kind of like reiterate. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm gonna wrap things up in a sec. But yeah, there's too much going on in this movie. I find a lot of it boring, and then the ending. Now that it's like later in the video, I am gonna get into spoilers. So if you haven't seen this movie and you don't want it spoiled, you know, turn the video off. So the whole like revelation at the end where it was all a dream, like, come on, dude. It was all like that junk was played out. Like, this came out in 1979. That was played out then. The whole it was all a dream. Like, when that happens in a movie, I swear, like, I just feel cheated, you know? Like, so all of this was just a dream. I just wasted an hour and a half and none of this even happened. He was just dreaming. His brother was already dead. Like, but then the tall man's still there, so was it not a dream? It's like ambiguous. I mean, sometimes ambiguous endings are like cool and they make you think, but like, I've just never really rocked with that ending. Like, the jump scare with the tall man at the end where he's like, boy, that final ending is good. Like, that's iconic. Like, when he's just like, boy, and he just appears, that's classic stuff. But the whole thing where it was like, it was all just a dream. Like, come on, dude, get out of here. It was all just a dream. I'm not a big fan of that usually. I felt cheated. I was like, man, I don't want it to be a dream because there was some cool stuff that happened. You're saying the metal ball flying and you know, hitting that guy in the head and his blood squirting out. You're telling me that was a dream? That was like the best part. That was a dream? Come on. You think someone could just dream that up? What do you think? You're giving this kid too much credit. What do you think? He's a genius? But let me see. I think I went over everything that I wanted to go over. So I'm gonna wrap things up here in a second. So, you know, even though I said I'm not huge on this movie and I think it's just alright, I would still recommend it because it is a classic and there are so many good and iconic elements. Like I said, the main cast is great, the villain is great, the tall man is iconic, the whole silver ball thing is awesome. It's kind of like a weird movie, like it's like an interesting, unique movie, and you know, for its time it was super unique, and it's like crazy to me that this movie was like a hit, because this is kind of like a weird movie. Like I said, weird in a good way, but like I'm surprised that this like went on to become like such a hit and like spawn like a franchise. Like, who would have thunk? But like, that's awesome that this movie made money. Like, it deserved it. It's a super unique and iconic movie. So yeah, I'm rambling here once again, but even though I'm not the biggest fan of this movie, I would still recommend it. It's a horror classic. If you are a horror fan and you're a fan of late 70s, 80s horror, definitely check this out. But with that being said, I said everything that I wanted to say about Phantasm. Thank you all for watching, and peace out.